Hey guys, welcome back. So last episode, I should say, we were covering just the anatomy of curtain wall, the kind of different elements of it. The first thing that I'm going to do today is look at the curtain grid itself and how you can kind of manipulate that. So let's go ahead and get into it here. So curtain wall grids. So if you watched the last video, these little pieces here, this lives inside. This is how Revit is deciding where we have these elements, kind of divisions happening. Couple different things we should cover. First is that if you do have a wall, or a curtain wall I should say, and you click on this, you will notice that what's called a pin. So if you want to adjust any of these, make this 1500 say for instance, you might notice that I can't change it. So if I jump to a plan view here, I should also see, if I just hover here, I've also got these grid elements that live inside of my Revit curtain wall. So first thing we can do is we can actually unpin these. So this is one thing that might be helpful for us. So if we want to adjust these, you can unpin them. And now I should be able to adjust them. So this is one way, depending on your choice, how we might get at a 15. You can see how very quickly this is going to become tedious. So as I unpin all these, I can type 1500, and maybe that's helpful. Maybe that's helpful for us as we kind of get a organizing principle for how this 1500 millimeter grid or module might be helpful for our overall Revit piece. However, a simpler way is actually in the family itself. We can actually set some of these parameters up, and to do that, rather than complicate things, what we're going to do is we're going to try and uncomplicate them. And in fact, I'm actually going to you know what, let's delete this and we'll do no wall. We'll do a new curtain wall. So come in here to the wall tool, wall architectural, curtain wall. Which one do we like here? I think the exterior glazing one's good. And do me a favor and jump into, actually let's make this level 1 for now, but jump into edit type here, and we'll actually duplicate this family. So we're actually going to duplicate it, call it something smart. So let's do curtain wall exterior glazing assignment 2, something like this. You can call it whatever you want. We might even call it just, that's fine. Couple little pieces here that we probably want to see. We've got exterior function, that's fine. Curtain wall panel, we can decide, do we want the panel to be something other than none? We'll leave it for none for now. What else do we got? So here's where it gets really complicated. So we've got fixed distance, and we've got fixed number. We got maximum spacing, and we got minimum spacing. So fixed distance is basically saying there's a fixed kind of number, fixed distance is a number, a kind of value between each curtain wall grid, as it were. So if we wanted 1500, say for instance, we could set 1500 as our fixed distance. So why don't we go ahead and let's try and do that for now. Fixed distance, and instead of 1830 here, let's make it 1500. So 1500 will work with your 1500 module. Now a reminder that you will still have pins inside of your grid here. So if you do need to make any adjustments at, say, the corners, for instance, or corners of the building and plan. But let's give this a shot. And the other way is the horizontal grid here, we can also set up. So, for argument's sake, 3500 is a good kind of starting point for where we should be. We can double check what our overall heights are here for our building. But if I'm just going to go ahead and try this out, let's go here, hit OK, or hit apply and OK. And if I go ahead and draw my wall here, why don't I jump to plan view? No, let's do it in 3D. Level 0 to level 1. If I draw this, in 3D, I can kind of mess around a little bit here. But let's draw a 9-meter grid here, and voila. Now we have a very easily created 1500 millimeter grid, which is great for us. That's really, what I wanted to do for our project here is a 1500 millimeter grid, because I have a 7500 by 9000 grid. So 1500 is a factor, or goes into our 7500 as well as our 9000. So if I go ahead and I drag this a little bit further, what happens, right? So you can see here, it really will always generate a 1500 millimeter width And this could be really useful for us because now we know that if we throw this into our model, for instance, that we're going to have 1500 millimeters everywhere. And remember that these are pinned. So if you do need to adjust one, you can go ahead and do that. One thing we might want to do is, if we wanted to remove one of these grids, we can actually come up here and remove it. And now we've got a bigger piece of glass. So remember that, again, is you actually have to select the grid itself, come up here to add remove segments, and then I can just click a little piece here. And now I've got nothing in there. So it's still going to show up, but I'm not going to see any split in the glass, if that makes sense. So now I've got no segment. I can put it back in. Blam. Give it back to me. Throw it back in here, right? So now I got it back. And we should still see that 1500 millimeter spacing. So slightly different iteration here. Come back in. Whoops. And if I hit edit type, whoops. If I click on my wall, I'm going to drag this in a little bit. And I come back here, edit type, and change it to say your assembly, your module is 1200. You know, you want it to do a 7200 grid instead. Now we've got, oh, except, look at this. So except that now, because I adjusted that one, it's all a little wonky. I pin that back. We should have all 1200 millimeters on the grid. And if you notice, the other way is going to be our 3500. Hard to see here, but 3500, if I spin around maybe, 3500 in the vertical direction. So if I'm going to expand this up a little bit, we should see, give me another one here, another grid in the vertical direction of 3500. So, you know, make sure that this is going to work with whatever floor to floor assembly that you've chosen. In this case, we would probably end up adding in a little spandrel panel here, but I think for now, this is probably a good place to kind of pause. The grid it's here, right? We can adjust the grid if we do that little, remember we can do that unpin, and we can remove or add in these elements using the add remove segment. Remember, you have to select the grid before you can add or remove those pieces. Okay, guys, that's it for the second part here. So this is just curtain wall grids. In the next video, I'm going to touch on how to generate some mullion types so you can see how that process works, and just to give us a sense of what we should be working with inside of our assignment too.